What's up, everyone? Today, in this video, I'm going to be interviewing a good friend of mine, Ryan Casper. He is an actuarial analyst, and we'll jump right into the questions of the video, and you'll learn a little bit more about his career. So, Ryan, what exactly is your job, and maybe say like where you work?
Yeah, so I work for a consulting firm called Mercer in Hartford, Connecticut. Um, my job as an actuarial analyst is to help assist different clients of all different sizes. So it can vary from anywhere around like 50 to 100 lives or upwards of over 5,000 lives at big corporations with popular names that you've probably heard of. With their health and benefits. So that includes setting rates and pricing their benefits plans and making any sort of plan design changes that the company may want to implement to save money.
Nice. How did you get yourself into this field? What was your major in college, and what made you want to pursue this?
So I was always a big math guy. So a lot of my counselors and different professors that I ran into sort of pushed me towards the actuarial career. So I majored in mathematics and actuarial science at UConn, and then through the Career Services Center and a bunch of different people I made connections with, I finally landed an interview, got an internship, and stayed with them the following summer.
Nice. Was there any other careers that you were interested in with the great interest in math that you had?
Some of my backups were definitely just general finance or being a financial advisor. Accounting was always kind of on my radar. And then my sort of lower tier backup that I was only planning on using if I didn't find interest in anything else was always teaching.
Nice. So, just like day-to-day responsibilities, maybe on like lay out like a week. What are you doing day to day?
Okay. Day to day, it'll kind of vary. That's one of the reasons I chose to do consulting versus working at an insurance carrier, just because things can change and pop up at any given time, and you have to kind of be able to adapt and help the client meet their needs on their feet if they need something really urgently by the end of the day or by the end of the week. Majority of the time, it'll be updating and refining the models and tools we use to project health costs and help get a more accurate picture of where we think a client's costs and funding are going to go versus what we need to do to kind of prevent any sort of lapses in their plans so that they don't incur extra expenses that they don't need to.
So would you say that like being adaptable, would that be one of the most important skills that you have to have if you're looking to go into an industry like this, or is there another skill?
Oh, adaptability is definitely a big one. The next one that would come to mind is definitely responsibility, just because on any given day, if some of my coworkers around me or at a different office need my help just for something really quick and I've got some free time, you can kind of get called into a random group that you've never worked with and maybe have to jump on a conference call and help some people out with some of the background financial work if you're in my position, or maybe do more client-facing things and actually have real discussions with the team members from the client side, and you can just get roped in on different stuff on day-to-day projects, so you got to kind of be adaptable in that sense.
Yeah, it sounds like you have multiple things you can be doing on a day-to-day basis, just depending on the day. Is
Yep.
there like a certain aspect to your job that maybe you like the most, and you like maybe there's something that you like the least?
Thing I probably like the most is probably the personability of everybody I've come to work with. It's consulting's your personality in consulting is really important. It helps that you're someone who can get along with a lot of people and you know how to talk and present yourself well. So that's been something I really enjoyed because it's also helped me grow as a presenter and as someone who communicates on day-to-day basis about health insurance, which is a topic I'm very passionate about. One of the things I think wasn't as attractive for me was that's tough. Maybe the cubicle life. Some people aren't huge fans of just being stuck in one spot all the time.
Yeah.
Fortunately for me, one of the benefits that comes with sticking with the company and kind of ranking up and climbing the corporate ladder is the ability to travel and go to more client side meetings and kind of enjoy getting to different offices and meeting different people.
So you get to travel a lot?
Eventually I will. Not so much yet, but I'm also only 6 months into it, so hopefully in the future I'll definitely be able to.
Yeah, but you're looking forward to the traveling aspect, getting out of the office and everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nice. So, kind of going off of the career path, or not the career path, the ladder. What is like a common career path in your industry? What do you aspire to eventually attain?
Um, so as an analyst right now, I'll do a lot of the background work and the heavy lifting in different programs like Excel or Microsoft Access to do kind of the main fundamental math behind lots of the projections and things like that. As you climb the ladder more, you become more involved in client meetings and just doing person-to-person interactions and making plan designs and things like that for projects in the future, and then review of your peers that are below you on the ladder. So that's going to be one of my big goals to look forward to, is to, as I climb higher up, step away maybe from the hard financials on a day-to-day basis and work more with other people and gain more experience with company interactions.
Okay. So, as someone entering the workforce like myself in a couple months, this is obviously a career path that I'm interested in. What kind of degree and training or background would you say that the job requires? Is there any exams that you need to take or prerequisites, so on?
Actuarial specifically, there are exams to kind of get credentialed and then reach either the first tier, which is receiving your ASA when you become an associate, or your FSA when you become a fellow. Each one requires more exams than the other. But just to get into the consulting field generally with some of my coworkers, you can major in anything from just general business administration to communications to something more financially driven or accounting. Any sort of math background will help you a little bit. I would definitely suggest healthcare management if you want to do health benefits specifically. Those are just to make you more fundamentally familiar with the field itself and what you'll be dealing with on a day-to-day basis. But actuarial specifically, UConn was really helpful because they had the actuarial program and helped me prep for the exams.
Yeah. So, how relevant was your work at UConn to what you're doing now? Do you feel that you had a good base, academic base at UConn when you went into the work field, or do you feel that you learned more on the job?
I would say it's kind of like a two-part answer in the sense that UConn prepped me really well for actuarial exams and the general career field. But then when it comes to health insurance specifically, I thought UConn lacked a little bit there, and my internship experience over the summer taught me more than I ever would have imagined just with health and benefits specifically, and kind of drew me into that and made me enjoy that a little bit more than, say, like life insurance or anything else.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously, this is for communications class. You've taken communications class at UConn. How important has that been in your day-to-day life or work cycle? I mean, I know my internship, I have to use communication skills that I've learned in all my comm classes every day, interacting with clients and other coworkers. So maybe just I want to hear about how that pertains to you in a different career.
Yeah, I would say in consulting specifically, it's super helpful to be at least somewhat knowledge with like a communications background, like you'd said, just because you're interacting with a lot of different people in a lot of different ways. Sometimes it'll be face-to-face. Sometimes it'll be a Skype call like this. Sometimes it can just be over the phone or via email. So you have to know how to sort of not just operate each medium, but almost how to present yourself efficiently and get your point across in efficient but dynamic way with each medium. So giving a presentation in person isn't going to be quite the same as just explaining something via email. So you have to be able to kind of play both sides of that and make sure you're going to explain the situation the same exact way, regardless of what you're using to convey your point.
Yeah, I completely agree. You got to know what mediums are best for what you need to be getting
Yeah.
the point you need to be getting across.
Yeah.
All right. So this question, I mean, I'm not sure. If you had to go through college again, would you and enter the workforce again? Would you choose the same path, or is there another path that you'd be interested in pursuing, or really anything?
Um, I think just purely based on my curiosity, if I had to choose another career path, I am really, really into the whole math and numbers world, but science always piqued my interest a little bit. So I think I'd be more willing to maybe try out an engineering career path, specifically at UConn, just because I know their engineering school is really highly accredited.
Oh yeah.
But if I were to not choose actuarial, I think my interests would peak somewhere around the engineering field for sure.
Okay. And like a specific engineering field that you would have been interested in? I was just curious what your options were.
Um, I have a couple of friends who are chemical engineers or mechanical engineering majors, so I'd probably choose one of those two, either like chemical or mechanical.
Nice.
I don't know. Chemical would probably be more interesting to me.
Yeah, I definitely could see that. So if you would give advice to someone trying to enter the field that you're entering, let's say that they're still in college, but they're looking for internships, jobs, suggested courses, the path they should take, what advice would you give to that person?
I would definitely say make sure that you get into the hard-hitting math courses as early as you can, because the sooner you introduce yourself to some of the more abstract ideas that you don't find in like your average calculus course, that's an extra step ahead on everybody else that you'll have. And then I would also say take your studies for the actuarial exams outside of school very, very seriously. The sooner you can get those done, and if you can gain the correct study habits that help you succeed the best, then you'll be able to pass more of them quickly compared to some of your peers, and that can make you look really, really good on paper specifically. But then within the actual industry, I would say apply to as much as you can and reach out and network as much as possible. Go to any events, even if they're off campus. Try to find friends that you can go with. That was definitely one thing I think I missed out on. There were some good networking events in like the Boston or the New York area that I just didn't take advantage of, but it definitely helped out some of my actuarial friends land some of their first jobs.
Nice. And does your company do those networking events? Do they participate in recruiting at colleges?
Yeah, my company, when I first got hired for my internship, they did not originally. But after seeing both myself and this past year's intern come from UConn, they were very pleased with the UConn program. They found it to be super well-rounded and producing a lot of very good actuarial students specifically. So since then, they've expressed interest in going to UConn to recruit, as well as several other universities in the
area. Nice. All right. Well, that's all the questions that I have. Thank you very much for interviewing with me today.
Absolutely.
I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
All right. See you later.
See ya.